welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-commerce. I'm Egan Heath, the owner of Caravan Digital. We're a digital marketing agency that specializes in paid search, paid social, and email marketing for direct-to-consumer brands. Today, I'm excited to have on my friend and colleague, Jingping Ji from Pro Teeth Guard. JP, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your business and this product because it's quite unique.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting product. I got started in it because my family owned a dental lab that manufactured custom dental appliances. So the product we sell at Pro Teeth Guard is a custom fitted dental mouth guard, specifically for people who grind and clench their teeth at night. So typically what would happen is, you go to the dentist, they tell you grind your teeth. This happened to me, actually. Funnily enough, after I started the business, because entrepreneurship can be stressful sometimes. So they tell you grind your teeth, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we can make you a night guard, and it'll be $500 or some pretty large sum of money." And what they do is they actually take the impressions and they send it to a dental lab, and a dental lab manufactures it and sends it back to the dentist, and then the dentist gives it to you. They might do some additional service as well. But for us, what we do is we are a dental lab. We send a custom impression kit to the customer once they order online, and the customer takes their impressions, sends it back. We custom manufacture the product, and then we send it the finished night guard. And so there's a lot of customization in the whole process, and we do it at a price that's our average product is $170 something dollars, so at a significant discount. So kind of a direct-to-consumer model.
Yeah, sounds like big savings over what they would do otherwise. So that's great to see. It's also interesting that it sounds like, if I got that right, there's two packages that ship in terms of the initial piece and then the final, what they actually use. So there's quite a bit of customer service and coordination there. Is that right?
Yeah, so initially we send the custom impression kit. So that's a box with all the impression material, and it includes a prepaid return envelope. So they need to take their impressions, put their impressions in the return envelope and send it back to us. And then we take those impressions and we, form an exact kind of mold of their mouth and teeth. And then we make the custom night guard so it fits perfectly. And then we send the custom night guard to the customer.
Very cool. Can you tell us a little bit about the customer service that's involved with that? I think you said you guys are having some coordination or some communication with almost every customer. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's not like your typical e-commerce product, right, where they order, some people even use a 3PL, they send it out, and the customer receives the product and it's done. For us, we send the custom impression kit to the customer. Sometimes they'll have questions about how to take the impressions, or they need a bit of help. Then they will contact our customer service. We do all of our customer service in-house. If you call, we pick up the phone. Sometimes people are a little surprised. They're like, "Oh, you actually have a person picking up the phone," which is great. And then once they take the impressions, that gets sent back to the lab. Most of the time, the impressions are good to go into manufacturing, but sometimes, maybe they messed up the impression and it's not quite accurate. And it's important for us to get a not perfect, but very accurate impression so that we can make a great fitting night guard. So in that case, we will actually reach out to the customer to either send them another free impression kit or something to basically improve the impression that we have. And then finally, when we have the completed night guard, we send that to the customer, and we have a 60-day, 110% money back guarantee. So, most of the time it fits great. Sometimes it doesn't. They get in touch with us. We'll, improve the fit and make adjustments if necessary. Or if they're just, not happy with it, they can get the refund as well. We also have a 1-year warranty. So, sometimes, if they're really heavy grinders, they grind through the night guard within a year, then they get a free replacement, in which case we also have to, support that with our customer service team.
Wow. Sounds like you guys are really going above and beyond. There's a lot of things I want to ask about there. One is I heard the 110% refund if you're not happy. I think a lot of e-commerce people would be afraid to offer that. Are people going to take advantage of that? Can you tell us a little bit about how that's worked out for you?
Yeah, so we wanted to really stand out when we launched. as a brand, so we wanted to go above and beyond the regular, 100% guarantee. So for us, we haven't really run into any problems where people are taking advantage of it because it's such a custom product and they basically deal with a real person on the other side of the phone. I feel like it's not kind of like a faceless corporation or kind of a small company. We haven't really run into any issues. I think our refund rates are in the low single-digit percentages. So obviously, we would like to have everyone be happy with the product, but we've had customers even when after they've refunded with us, they're like, oh, it didn't work for me, but I had a great experience with the whole process. So I would still recommend you to other people because it was so easy to work with.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing about that. I'm also curious, you mentioned the phone number is on your website. I see that there. You have live chat as well. How important has that been for, customer service and sales? And then also, I think just e-commerce people try to stay out of that. How do you manage that? How do you staff that? Tell us a little bit about those pieces, live chat and phone number.
Yeah. So for the phone number, we have, people in the office 9 to 5 Pacific time, and the customer service team answers the phone. For us, we found it to be really helpful because it's kind of a product where people may have questions and they feel more comfortable purchasing after they've had a conversation with someone. Not everybody, but for maybe some customers who are not as experienced with purchasing online. So that's been really helpful. Live chat is actually 24 hours, and we don't staff that. We use a third-party kind of live chat service called Help Flow, and they are, I think we were one of their earliest customers, so we've been using them for years, and they have a very kind of thorough system for onboarding a client, understanding all of the questions that you may have. They have an internal FAQ that their team kind of keeps and updates based on customer chats, and they're able to answer a good proportion of the questions, like the common questions that people have. And then if someone has a specific question that requires our internal customer service team's help, then they'll refer that chat to us.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Tell us, so you guys redid this website. Share a little bit about why you wanted to revamp the design. What was going on before. I'm not sure what platform you're on now and if you changed platforms, but talk to us a little bit about that. I think you said you're going on 10 years in business here. So talk to us about the website, maybe, past and present.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of different versions of the website. The first version was literally just me using a little bit of Photoshop and slapping on a template. So we are on Ecommerce, which is one of the smaller e-commerce platforms, similar to Shopify, really. It's like a third-party hosted platform. But at the time when we started in 2012, it wasn't quite clear which platform was going to be, the clear winner. I think now it's clear that Shopify is way more popular. But at the time, Ecommerce also had a lot of great features, and it's been able to do everything we need it to do. It's not been the bottleneck. So we've stayed on it because also changing platforms may have a significant SEO impact. The reason we did the website update currently is as we've kind of been in the space, we've seen more and more competitors pop up, and we wanted to do a couple of things. One is to have a more coherent brand identity to really stand out and kind of have a coherent brand kind of identity so that people know that this is Pro Teeth Guard, these are the other brands. The second thing that we really wanted to do was also, as the years have passed, we've seen mobile traffic just kind of inch up and up and up. And I think now, something like 60 or 70% of our site traffic is mobile. So before we had a responsive website, but it was kind of designed with web in mind, like a desktop in mind, and then ported over to mobile. This time, when we did the design, we wanted to have a clear mobile design and a mobile experience. That's not an afterthought, but a real focus, and then also a website experience, a desktop experience. So That was another motivation. And finally, as you probably know, with Google's continuous updates with, I think it's called Core Web Vitals and all of these like technical things, we wanted to make sure the new site is nice and clean and fast and works well with all of those requirements as well, so that we have kind of a good foundation to build upon.
Yeah. Sounds like BigCommerce has worked out well for you. So am I understanding right of the old site was BigCommerce, the new site is BigCommerce as well?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, we have a client that just switched from Squarespace to Shopify, and it's really been a struggle. And again, Shopify on its own, no, not necessarily major problems, but that switching the CMS has really wreaked havoc on their site and their organic traffic. So that's interesting. Were there other things you thought about in terms of how do we, it sounds like you mentioned, mobile first rather than just mobile responsive. Were there other things you did to kind of approach I'd say conversion rate optimization or things like that to make sure that when you change the new design, your conversion rate didn't change? If anything, it would improve, right?
Right. So we did a couple of things there. First thing was we actually engaged 3 different agencies to work on this. So first, we engaged a branding agency that worked on the visual identity and brand design. So, they were focused on like the logos and the fonts and the color schemes. And then the second agency we engaged with was a UI kind of like site design agency. And they were focused on like the layout of the site, the user experience, bringing in those conversion elements as well. And then the third agency we worked with was actually the development agency. So they were mostly concerned with implementing the code that would then bring the website to life. And we found that process to be really good because, people who are good at design aren't necessarily good at like the coding part. And this way we got each agency to be really good at what they did. Of course, you can work with bigger agencies. Like we also got quotes from like larger agencies that have all of these components in-house. But I think it ended up being, significantly more expensive to do it with a bigger agency because they obviously have more overhead. The other thing that I think we did that was really helpful is we used a user testing service called Conversion Crimes. And we actually had users go through the desktop and mobile site, like versions of our site, before we did the site redesign. So we identified points of friction where we could address those kind of like uncertainty or like, messaging not being clear, or they didn't quite understand something, or like they were confused about how to like move from one page to another. We gave all of those recordings and notes to our UI agency, so they were able to use some of that to really, design around and polish up the whole experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's great. So separate experts in terms of the branding as a piece, the user interface as a piece, and then the actual dev and build as a piece. Were you then handling any SEO considerations yourself? How were you kind of making sure you guys didn't slip there? Yeah.
So funnily enough, right? Like I'm also a software developer, so I have a pretty deep understanding of how all of this stuff works. And I've been working or like building sites for SEO since 2008. So that's also a pretty long history in SEO. So I definitely had some oversight into, I think it was more specifically on the development side that, really, we really tried to help guide the developers to make the right decisions. For example, even the larger example of decision of not moving from BigCommerce to Shopify, right? I knew that the URL structures would change if you move from BigCommerce to Shopify because all of the page URL structures are different for the two platforms. And I just, based on my understanding of SEO, like, yes, you can handle it, but there's always some sort of risk there. Whereas when we did the update in BigCommerce itself, all the pages stayed and the structure stayed exactly the same. It was just the visual and like the code on that specific page that changed. And a lot of the times it was actually just mostly CSS that changed. The text itself was actually pretty consistent. The other thing that I had to kind of be a little bit involved in was the core Web Vitals component of the site, more the implementation part in the code, because even though they were an e-commerce specific agency, they weren't super familiar with core Web Vitals. Things like, I think the three components are, I think like first contentful paint. I think the one that always I think a lot of e-commerce stores suffer from is CLS, which is cumulative layout shift. So an example of that is, if you like load a page and then a banner loads later and it pushes the rest of the page down, that is considered a poor user experience by Google, because if you were like trying to click on a button and then like it pushes the page and the page moves, you end up clicking a different button that you didn't intend, right? So some side effects could occur. So just paying attention to that and using tools, or like showing the right tools for giving the right tools to the developer so that they can like check for CLS and then be able to implement the fixes as they're coding.
Pretty interesting. So you were kind of shepherding the technical SEO considerations, it sounds like. Were you tempted at all to build this yourself, or are you kind of done with that piece?
I think in total, the development time took about 140 hours for implementing the new site. And I think if I were to do that, it would just take me so long. And I had other things that I need to focus on to run the business. So for me, it was a pretty easy decision to find, a capable third-party like agency that specialized in development. Actually, they specialize in development only for BigCommerce. So they knew kind of the ins and outs of the BigCommerce platform really well. So that's why we chose them, and it's been a pretty, it's been a pretty smooth experience.
Yeah, those are all great tips. Thank you, JP. Anything else that you've learned from this experience? I think you said maybe there was a little bit of, cleanup or things you guys were working on after the site launched. Any lessons learned that you would do differently?
Yeah, there were definitely some like small UI UX issues when we launched. So we actually also did another set of user tests using conversion crimes after our new site launched. And that was really helpful as well to understand, what customers like were running into, any roadblocks or points of friction, and that helped us fix those issues. I think if there was one thing, I just wish we could have, I guess, done it a little bit, like worked on the timeline a little bit better, because it took a long time because we worked with 3 different agencies. So the first agency did the branding, that took a couple of months. The second agency did the UI UX, that took a couple of months. And then the third agency did the implementation, and that took a couple of months. So add all of that up, it took quite a while to actually get through the whole project. Thinking back, I wonder if there was a way I could have gotten started with the basically like lined up the timeline so it could have been more condensed. Like the UI UX agency could have started with like a wireframe layout, right, without all the colors and stuff, and then the dev agency could have like started with the general layout without all of the styling and stuff, so that we could have gotten the project done a little bit faster.
Gotcha. This is always a point of contention, I know, on a new site, of how long did you think it would take at the beginning, and then how long did it end up taking end to end?
Yeah, it definitely took way longer than we thought. I think we were planning for it to be like 4 to 6 months from after the brand design was complete. The brand design, I think, took maybe like 2 to 3 months, just with the back and forth and feedback. I think about 3 months. So we were planning like 4 to 6 months for the UI and implementation. But I think it ended up taking almost a full year for all of that to complete.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you mentioned conversion crimes as well. You and I met through the DC, the Dynamite Circle, and we also had Quinn Zeta, the founder of that, on. That was episode 8, and that's a great tool. I was kind of curious. I was waiting to hear to see, did you run it again, and maybe even would you ever run conversion crimes on, say, the mockups or the test site rather than the new live site once it's launched?
I think I don't know how their capability with running on mock sites. We've only run it on live sites, but yeah, I think because it was pretty easy to make alterations once we had the new site up, I think it was fine to run it on the live site because we could make the changes pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it sounds like SEO has been a big piece of your marketing mix. Can you share with us a little, what you've learned over the years and what seems to have worked well for you guys? You mentioned Core Web Vitals, so it sounds like you're really focused in on the technical piece, site speed and things like that, and user experience. Sounds like that's really helped you guys. Is there anything else that you've focused on that seems to have worked well for SEO rankings?
Yeah, I think all of those technical aspects are important. It's like, hey, if you're gonna have a boat, you want to make sure it doesn't leak, right? But that's not necessarily gonna get you a fast boat. If it doesn't leak, it could still be a very slow boat. So the most important, but if it does leak, even if it's a fast boat, you're not gonna get anywhere because you're gonna be underwater. So that's how I would think about the technical aspects of SEO. You have to get it right, but it's not gonna help you win. It's gonna help you not lose. To really win, the way that I would like to think about it, which I think makes sense to me, is who is Google's customer, right? Google's customer is someone who searches something and they want to see something most of the time. So how do you make yourself indispensable to Google? Basically, you create content that is so good that if Google doesn't include you in the first 3 results, they are providing a worse experience to their customer. Does that make sense? So say you're how to build, I don't know, I'm currently thinking about building a balcony garden. So how to build a balcony garden, right? If you provide the most most simple to digest, beautiful, great content on that topic, it's in Google's best interest to put you in the top results. Because if they don't, and there's someone in another city searching how to build a balcony garden, and they don't see the best content, that's making their experience on Google worse. So that's, I think, the general guiding principle that we have towards SEO. I don't think we're quite there yet. We're not producing quote unquote epic content for every piece of content that we put out. But really we keep that, customer-centric thing in mind. And then obviously you still have to do keyword research and optimization and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at your blog here. I've got it pulled up and shared. So I can see, we're on June 16th here. You guys have already blogged, got 3 posts from this month already. On June 12th, we've got this one that seems quite pertinent of, can bruxism cause nerve damage? Am I saying that right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Bruxism is the technical, medical term for teeth grinding.
Yeah. And I can tell this was, you obviously did careful keyword research, good images. You can see the shop now over here. Get a professional quality night guard from $159. I'd love to see that. Can it cause nerve damage? So how do you approach this? Are you writing this? Do you have a team that writes this? Is this outsourced? How do you handle this? This looks like a high quality blog post. I love to see, all the optimized, headers, and then this kind of banner that takes you back to the shop page. But how are you guys handling this? How are you doing this content?
Yeah, it took a while to kind of dial it in, but basically we have a process where it comes in kind of, I guess, 3 stages. The first stage is like keyword research, right? So finding the right topics that might be relevant. The second stage is outlining. So what we do is we use a tool called ClearScope, which is an on-site optimization tool that uses kind of machine learning to pull out the exact keywords and topics that are relevant to the topic. So for example, if you're writing about Superman, you probably want to mention kryptonite and the Daily Planet, Lois Lane, and all of this stuff, right? So it does all of that. It scans, I think, the top results of Google to pull out those topics and keywords. So using ClearScope, we create an outline that pretty much hits all of the major topics, and then we take that outline and we assign it to a writer. And we work with freelance writers that typically work with us for the long term. I think one of them has worked with us for maybe about 2 years now. So as they work with us, they build up, a knowledge about the subject matter as well. And then we have, so that's outsourced, the actual writing of it. And then the content, like keyword research, article outlines, and then also when it comes back, it goes through an editing process. That's done in-house by our content marketing specialist.
I would be remiss not to ask you about affiliate marketing. We haven't had anyone on the show talk about affiliate marketing. You said that's a decent part of your marketing mix. Tell us a little bit about that. Just maybe even give a high level for people who aren't totally familiar with it. That's kind of old school internet marketing. It's still working for you, and that's great. And then, how have you approached this, and how have you found success with affiliate marketing?
Yeah, I think, so the way affiliate marketing works is actually, if you want to pull up just a Google page and search like best night guard, you'll see that a lot of the top articles are affiliates. And the way it works is if they say, land on that page and click on a link. So best night guard, so we have some ads, and the first organic result is mouth guards for teeth grinding, so by Sleep Foundation. That's actually one of our affiliate partners. So when you click through there, you'll see a list of different products. Mm-hmm. And if a customer clicks through and makes a purchase, sleepfoundation.org, the affiliate receives a percentage as a commission, right? So that's how I think the underlying mechanics of affiliate marketing works. Mm-hmm. So for us, the most successful affiliates have been these very large, I would call them like SEO powerhouses. Like they just have so much SEO experience and clout, they rank for everything. So a lot of actually publications are also getting into this, like New York Times and, like Health and like magazine. Yeah, everybody is kind of getting smart to this affiliate game. So what we try to do, I think there's still a lot we can do better, but basically what we try to do is we try to be competitive in terms of the commission that we pay out. We try to be communicative and easy to work with affiliate. And then currently we're undergoing a process where we are actively working on increasing the conversion rate of the traffic that the affiliates drive us. So we're creating custom landing pages. We're in the process of doing this for the top affiliates so that, when they click through, for example, on that article, it says Pro Teeth Guard is the most comfortable night guard, rather than driving them to a product page or a category page, which is a generic category page. We drive them to a landing page that says, hey, Pro Teeth Guard, we're the most comfortable night guard, guaranteed. And this is why, and these are kind of our customer testimonials and really like main brand messages to try to increase the conversion rate of every visitor. Because, if they drive us 100 visitors and a higher proportion converts, like that means more revenue for us, but that also means more affiliate commissions for them, which incentivizes them to, favor our product as in terms of the placement within the article.
Got it. Did you reach out to Sleep Foundation directly, or is that through another affiliate group? How did you get connected with them?
Right. So we use an affiliate platform called Share a Sale. It's a pretty popular one. I think another one is Impact is another popular third-party affiliate platform. The problem with affiliate platforms is a lot of the affiliates are just like random coupon sites. So like I would say like 90% of them. So we don't actually approve any coupon sites. If you search Pro Teeth Guard coupon, we want to be the first result, and we want to like provide our customers with that coupon code. We don't want them to go to another website to get the coupon and then then we have to pay them a commission for them to refer traffic to us. To me, that's not additive to our brand. So we mainly work with these affiliate partners where they actually, get us new traffic. For example, Sleep Foundation. So through Share a Sale, I believe Sleep Foundation actually found us through Share a Sale because we were listed on that platform. But we've also been around as one of the kind of, main online mouthguard, custom mouthguard companies since 2012. I think most of the competitors started after that. So I think just by being around long enough, we were also kind of in the right place at the right time.
Do you know if it has to be click and buy, or if they get cookied, and then if someone clicks from your affiliate, browses your site, leaves, comes back and buys, does the affiliate get credit for that, like on Amazon, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So I think you have the option in ShareSale to set the cookie tracking timeline. We have the most generous timeline. We set a 90-day tracking cookie. So yeah, if they click through the affiliate and discover our brand, and then they later purchase like through another channel, right? For example, they just type in proteithguard.com into their browser and then buy, the affiliate will still get the credit.
Gotcha. This is great. JP, anything else you want to share? Anything else you would advise, other e-commerce store owners about?
E-commerce nowadays is a lot of channels, right? Like before you could just like run Facebook ads and then like scale it up, and maybe you can still do that for some specific brands. But I feel like it's a little like spinning plates. You kind of have to do everything pretty well. Like you have to make sure your like sourcing is good, your product is good, your customer service is good, like your email marketing is good, your conversion rate optimization is good, your SEO is good. Like just doing one thing well is kind of not enough these days. So yeah, I think, continuous learning, being part of communities like the Dynamite Circle, or I'm also part of E-commerce Fuel as well, has been a great opportunity to learn from other store owners. Like some people are maybe really good at TikTok, or they're really good at email marketing. So I think continuous learning is required for entrepreneurs in the e-commerce space to continue seeing success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, tell listeners and viewers, where they can find you, and, who's a good fit to reach out to you.
Great. Well, our e-commerce store is proteithguard.com. So that's proteethguard.com. And personally, I've actually recently gotten quite active on Twitter. So if you want to, reach out and engage, you can find me on Twitter. It's just my full name, which is at Jingping Ji, JINGPINGJI. Twitter has been great. It's also a great place to learn from top e-commerce founders. I follow people like Nick Sharma and like I think Sean from Ridge Wallet and all of these other guys who are kind of sharing tips and useful information on Twitter.
JP, thank you for coming on and sharing what's working in e-commerce.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.